This episode, I am talking about my love of Airtable. Not for real. I'm talking about time management, time blocking, and how I'm able to accomplish the things that I do, both professionally and personally. So go ahead, push play. I'll catch you on the inside. Welcome back, Bold Move Besties, to another episode of She Built Success. I am your host, Claudia. Let's get on into it. So, on more than one occasion, I get asked, how do I manage the litany of projects, kids' activities, family, business commitments, all like in a row? Like, how am I able to do it all? And I will to that say time management and a lot of Airtable. So let me expound on that. I know I talk about Airtable like multiple times in a season, but that is because it literally does manage both personal and professional for me, for my team, my family, not so much as far as them being in it, but for me personally, it does help. So I've talked about this before in prior episodes about how I was following 12-week year. I've since adapted or modified 12-week year. It still is a 12-week cycle, but how it works in my schedule is I'll have like goals for the cycle, so for those 12 weeks, but then I will do a model work week. And what that model work week allows me to do is to time block what I'm doing. So in the 12-week year, they talk about strategic blocks. And so I do have strategic blocks throughout the week. I think in total it's 3, 6, 7, 8 hours total throughout the week. And those strategic blocks are opportunities for me to do things like it might be interacting on social media. It might be DMing certain potential clients. It might be, they're all strategic, but it might be planning content for the next X amount of time. We do have like rotating. We try to stay at least a month ahead, but we do have like a quarterly view of what our content calendar looks like. And so for me, it really is, what are the things that need to happen? And I've said this before with my family, if it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. So if one has to be picked up from an activity, they better put it on the calendar or they're going to get left. If another one has an event that they need to attend or they want to go hang out with friends, literally it goes on the calendar and it is blocked for that time. So that gives us awareness. Or if somebody's traveling, me or my partner, we're traveling, we have that. If I'm out here podcasting, like I have a block of time on the calendar that says that. So he knows he needs to go pick up the kids. So again, nobody gets left. But it really is a matter for me to manage my time is via time blocking. And so I have time where I'm doing client work, and that is it. And that is my focus. Typically, kind of like a 9 to 5, it's like a 9 to 5, but then I'm doing things before that. So I'm going to break down like a typical day for me, just so you get an idea of what I mean by time blocking. So first thing in the morning, I get up, I do my workout. My workout is anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. If I'm doing a program, they have some 15 minutes in there, but I try to do a 30 to 45 minute workout. And then if it's and schedule allows, I try to do walking as well, and I try to get my 8,000 steps. I know I said this before in season 2, but y'all, I'm like legit on this 8,000 steps bus, so a minimum. And so I try to do a little bit of walking, like a 30-minute ish to 40-minute walk in the morning. I'm not always able to do, like in the week anyway, I'm not able to do both like a floor or a Peloton as well as walking. So usually it's one or the other. But then on the weekend, I try to offset it and do walking and Peloton. So that's my morning. So that is from, depending on the morning, but usually like 5:30, 6 o'clock through about 7. And then certain days of the week, everybody in the family rotates dog duties. So we have a dog. And so, you have your day where you would take him out in the morning, take him out in the evening, regular dog duties. And so the mornings that I have dog duty, I'm done by 7, so that 7 to 7:15, I can get him out and then I can go get ready for the day to get the kids to school. And then by the time I get the kids to school and come back, this is also in my calendar, like legit time blocks in my calendar. Then I have what I call buffers. I believe that's in 12-week year. I believe so in the book as well. But I have these buffers, and if it's not, then this was one of my adaptations to it. But I have these buffers where, like, let's say because one of two children know how to get out the house on time. So let's say the one is that's straggling has it a little bit later. I don't get that 30-minute buffer. So that buffer's gone. That 30-minute buffer is usually me looking over what's to do for the workday. That's me making my coffee. I have this bougie coffee. Well, it's not bougie. Well, I guess it's not Starbucks. No slam on Starbucks, but that's not that's not my jam. It's called Cooper's Cask, and it's like a bourbon aged barrel type of a coffee. It's amazing. But anyway, I digress. So that's what I'm usually doing in my 30 minutes. For the mornings that I know that I am not able to, the one of two is out out the house late, then I put the coffee on the timer thingy, and that's how the coffee comes. So that as soon as I get home, I pour my coffee, I start my day. And when I start my day, I usually start the mornings early with my team to get us level set every Monday. Both my creative team and my government contracting team, we have our meetings before my official client workday starts. And so we're in there and we're talking about, what are some things that need my attention for that week? What are the things that the team is working on? What are the wins from the week prior? And that's on the creative team call. And then any assets that might need my final approval. But for the most part, my creative team is pretty self-sufficient and independent. We have the systems in Airtable that manage our content calendar, that manage approvals, that manage assets being uploaded in its location, things like the podcast. I'll come back to that. So now we're at before my client workday starts. Then we have my client workday, which is usually, no, it could be a myriad of things. It could be client calls, it could be meetings, it could be researching stuff, it could be, building out reports and data, it could be fixing things. So it all depends. But basically, that full day is client work, with the exception of lunch, obviously, because I am trying to go live this year, y'all, or this season, to at least get you guys questions answered real time, live on IG, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. I don't know. I'm not 100% on if I want to go live on YouTube. Not because it's not good. I just don't want to mix up the podcast episodes with actually being live. But we'll put a pin in that. If you see me on YouTube, then on YouTube also. But so that's lunch. Then after that, it's go pick up the kids in the afternoon and bring them back home, obviously, so that they can do their homework and whatever. And then so my work day is technically broken up because I have to cart the kids back and forth. But it's once they're back in, it's me back to work again. And then in the evening, so that's about 5:30, 6 o'clock, I am back to, we're either asking the age-old question, what's for dinner? What are we going to eat? Or if something's pre-prepared, then we'll do it. But more often than not, it's like, what do we want? Chicken, beef, fish, pork, what are we eating? So, and then it's getting dinner prepped-ish between 6 and 7. I say that loosely because now that the kids are older, dinner used, when they were smaller, dinner was 6, 6:30 we were eating. Now they're, they got activities, schedules are a little bit different. And so we skewed more to the 7, 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock time frame. And so between that time, we're either cooking dinner. I'm not really doing any real work. I'm actually doing more prepping what's the thing that we need to take out for the next day if we're going to do a dinner, or if we're having something at home for lunch. I'm doing that. And then we cook the dinner, obviously. And then from about 8 to 9, that's our family, when we're so that's one thing that is important to me, that we have dinner and we have dinner together. There are a couple exceptions to that. One of them is if cheer practice is super long. There's one day out of the week where it is we don't get home to almost 10, so yeah, almost 10 o'clock because of how far the gym is from us. But so those are some exceptions that we don't always get to eat together because it's so late. But for the most part, with the exception of that, we all eat together and we either talk about the day. Sometimes we don't say nothing because sometimes everybody's just tired of talking, whether it be to each other, whatever. But we do have our check-in. So that's dinner time. And then from by the time 9:30 comes, I'm tired. I don't care. Y'all can call me old. I've always been the type of person to go to bed early. I would have loved to go to bed at 9:30. That's usually not the case, but that is when I start, I take myself upstairs and start winding down for the day. And then pick up that whole routine the next morning. The one thing I did forget to mention about my very early morning. So the reason why I do during the week, I do either or when it comes to exercising, whether it's the Peloton or it's me doing those steps, the walking, is because I also have devotional. So I want to insert that because that's actually been a really big I'm not gonna say it's not shift. What is the word? It's been a big game changer. So cliche, but it's been a big thing for me over the past 4 years. The past 2 have been very impactful, and I'll talk about in another episode some of that. But devotional time is important, and for that I do at least 30 minutes devotional in the morning, and then I do things throughout the day, and I do things at night as well. So I did forget to put that in my morning routine, but that is part of my morning routine before the kids are out the door. So that is a typical weekday for me. Weekends are a little less structured, but there's still structure because there's still sports and cheer and practice. And so it's similar, but it's not as rigid. I do sometimes on the weekend. Okay, honestly, a lot of times on the weekend I work, and that's on my company, not client work, but on my company. I check workflows. I check in with my team regularly on our workflows. Now, I'm going to segue here into workflows. One of the things that does provide me the ability to, I'm not going to say do so much because it's not, but manage all the things that are happening is Airtable. And I'm going to show you how, or tell you how. I can't show you just yet. I am going to have an episode where I'm totally going to break down some of my systems in Airtable. But for now, let's just go with what I'm saying. So my creative team, those are the individuals who help with content, that we make sure things are on the calendar. We have themes, we have campaigns. Basically, they're creative. So copy, email marketing campaigns, things like that. All of that is in our content calendar. And we like to plan out content at least a month in advance, so we're a month ahead at least, except for when I throw in singers, which they've done a very good job to pivot with me when I do that. And singers, not in a bad way, just I get excited about something. I'm like, yeah, can we try this like tomorrow? And they're like, okay. But in all seriousness, we use Airtable to manage the type of content that goes out on a regular basis across platforms. So that could be, for instance, the podcast for sure is one that we have on a regular schedule. When we batch record, that's another time saving thing. This is not every week I'm here live with you guys, or not live, but here doing a recording. No, we batch record this bad boy. So we break it up in sets of 12. So 12 episodes, whether it's solos or guests. And that's how we're able to consistently show up every week. Do I sometimes wish that I could interject when episodes come? Of course. But then to that I supplement and I try to post something on social that is timely, but I do try to make sure that these episodes that go out are timeless, meaning they'll always be able to help you. So I mentioned the content calendar. On the government side, this is so fun. So on the government side, we have the pipeline tracker, which tracks all our business opportunities, things that are coming down the pipe, things that we're watching out for, things that we want to consider for maybe a future quarter. All of that is potential opportunities in the government space, and that's federal, state, and local. What's up, Bold Move besties? Guess what I'm offering? Government contract coaching for small businesses. It is your opportunity to get the real, the relevant, and the way to do government contracting correctly with the federal, local, and state government. Inside, you will get details on how to start in government contracting all the way through winning your first contract, which is, by the way, not guaranteed, but we're trying to get you there. So if you're interested, please sign up in the link below, and I will catch you in the next cohort. Go ahead and apply today. Visit readyswipegov.com to get started. So our pipeline tracker, again, I am a automations person and I love systems and workflows. I will link the episode where I actually talk about my operations brain as a CEO. So I'll link that so you can, if you want to go catch that, you can. But we are able to get notified of when things are due. When we're running a proposal or getting ready to submit a proposal, there's a whole automation that we stand up that has gates and phases that says, yep, it's ready for this cycle, it's ready for this next cycle. It's not a fit. We have calculations in it that allows us to know if we should continue to pursue an opportunity. So is it really worth it, or do we it's not a good fit? All of that stuff helps save time. It helps, and it's written down, and there's SOPs. Oh my gosh. Okay, business owners, this one's for you. Please make sure you write down your standard operating procedures. It is important because otherwise you're going to be scrambling to try to put the same thing together over and over again and not know where anything is. I can't function that way. I get you're not me, but oh my gosh, write it down. So there are SOPs. So in addition to Airtable, there are SOPs that walk you through the different things. I am always getting feedback from my team to know how things can be done better. So let's say somebody from the team saw something out on IG and they were like, oh, this is inspo. This is for the creative team. I have Airtable has this thing called interfaces, which is like an easy, I'm gonna say dashboard kind of a view of everything. My team could go into the inspo tab on our interface and upload the inspo. They can put the little image, they could put the link, they could put what inspired them on it. I do it all the time when I get like excited about stuff, which is how, they kind of rein me a little bit. So that's how I'm able to communicate sometimes when I can't always communicate face to face. And so having those systems in place are so important. So they have the inspo where they're able to do things like that. But then on the government side, when we're tracking opportunities, if somebody on my team is out, like my contract sourcing person is out, and they see, hey, there's an opportunity here in New Jersey, or there's an opportunity here in Texas that we should go after, they're able to upload that opportunity, and I'm able to review it. And if it notifies me if it's something that I need to review, or if it's something that my acquisition strategist needs to review, like all of those are systems. And I'm saying that because when you don't have systems and you don't have processes, you're not able to properly manage your time because you're wasting time trying to figure shit out. That's what it is. And so for me, these systems, my Airtable, my calendar, being communicative, asking for feedback from my team, because I get that. And I tell this to my team all the time. Y'all know I'm a data person. This is what I tell my team. Y'all know I'm a data person. And so if this feels like it's too complicated, please tell me, because I have made some things complicated. I'm not even gonna, that they're just like, yeah. And they had to get used to me encouraging them to speak up so that I can adjust it to how it works as a team. It's not just about me, even though I built it, right? It's not just about me. And so empowering them to give me that feedback so that I can make it better is a thing. I do have somebody in my team that is able to do like simple stuff in Airtable. And then I take on the automations and the notifications. I mean, this entire podcast is a whole base. And we have everything from guest contact info to episodes to talking points to thoughts. What else is on there? Intake forms. So for guests when they come on, like all of that is managed. There's automatic emails that go out when, to notify the guest of their episode coming up. So all of that's via Airtable. And I am appreciative of the systems that are in place, because for me, it's like, how much can I, take off my plate, so to speak, that tech can come in and help me out. And that's how I look at it. So am I doing all the things? Yes and no. The other aspect is within the nonprofit space. And so I've said this before, like I have not been able to be as focused because I was focused on other things. Remember, I don't believe in balance. If you're new here, I do not believe in balance. There's always a give and a take. And for me, the nonprofit was not a primary focus for the last 6 months of 2024. But now it's coming back into focus. And so I'm looking at, okay, what are the elements so my company helps in the IT and tech space. So like we host the website, we help with social media, things like that. Like that's what my company does for the nonprofit. But the nonprofit is separate and aside. Nonprofit's called Black Girls Fly, and it's intended to help female pilots or non-female, just minorities, get into aviation from private pilot all the way up to airline transport pilots. So, the ones that fly for like Delta, Southwest, United, things like that. And so I have been looking at just literally almost like a brain dump of what are all the elements that we need to get in place for 2025. Then I'm going to go meet with the board and we're all going to talk about it and figure out, okay, what can we do? What can we prioritize? What comes up next? And that's a system. I mean, now granted, it's not as fancy because we're just starting, but it's still a system. We still have emails. We still have modes of communication. We still text one another. Like, if you think you can do it all, you're not going to be able to accomplish anything, right? You're just going to be splitting yourself however many different ways. So when it comes to time blocking and time management, it's what has your focus and your attention for said time. Like if you have a thing where you get distracted easily, maybe shut off notifications, or maybe, okay, so I'm a Windows girl. I'm assuming Mac has it, but there's like a focus mode on Windows where you can you can set the timer for how long you want to focus, and notifications and whatnot won't come up. I'm assuming Mac has that. For those of y'all that are Team Apple, you can let me know. But, set up some focus time so that you can get those things done. Strategic blocks are important. Do I always hit my strategic block? So that's that 2 to 3 hour time block in a day? No, that's the reality of it. Sometimes client work is a lot. And so I'm focused on that, but I know that it's in there and I know where to account for it if I do miss it. The other thing that I do to manage time. So I'm going to tell you a story about me as a kid, which is hopefully, hopefully give you some light on me as a grown up. But as a kid, I can remember in the summers, I want to say middle school. And my mom, she would go to work. Well, both my parents, they would go to work for the day, but then I'm a latchkey kid. So, we would be at home, me and my siblings, I'm the oldest of three, and we would be at home. And one of the things that I would do, this is summertime, one of the things that I would do is I would time myself to see how fast I can get out the house. I'm not going anywhere, mind you. I'm not leaving, I'm not going down the street. It was just a thing. It was like, how can I get my best time? Like that was in my head. That was how can I get the best time? How long does it really take me to get out the house? So that's, brush your teeth, wash your face, eat your breakfast, whatever else you do in the mornings as a middle schooler, and get out the door. That was my thing. Or like I would do dishes, and it's like, okay, how long does it take me to do dishes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 15 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? And I get an average, and that would be my time, and that's my time block. So I guess since since I was a kid, I've always time blocked. But I didn't know that as a kid. I didn't know that's what it was called. It was just me trying to beat a time or meet my time, and understanding timings. So that, prime example, they call it like girl math, but you do this to back it up. So like it's like picking up the kids, for instance. Okay, well, I know I have 3 hours before I have to go pick them up. I know I need to do this. I know I need to eat. I know it's gonna take me 30 minutes to do this. Like it's just backing it all the way up like that. So if you think that way, maybe it's looking at your schedule and being like, okay, well, I know that I can focus for an hour on said topic or said project or said initiative. Set that time aside. So I would say it's not everything I'm doing at once, but it does have lots to do with systems, time blocking, and time management. There have been times where I've been late, shocker, and it's like, okay, so what do we do to offset that or fix the fact that we were late for something, whether that's coming up to an event or something else. And what I usually do is I either stay longer to help if I feel like it's a family. Well, family events don't count because my family can't never get nowhere on time. So never mind. I won't use family events as an idea, but I guess the whole point being like if I'm late for something, I'm gonna make it up somehow, whether it's in how I'm helping out cleaning up or whatever. But the point being, time blocking to me is how I'm able to get things done and being focused and intentional with that time. And so I talked a little bit about the bases. I don't remember if I said this on this episode, so I'm going to say it now. But I use 12-week year as a base for myself, and that helps me to... So I had this automation on my phone where it's called Brain Dump, and I just write stuff. Like if something comes to mind, but I'm not in a space to be able to either write it down or put it at my desk or what have you, I have this section on my phone, and I type in like, remember to pick up the kids at 3:00 today instead of 4. And I have an automation where Zapier picks it up, and then it pushes it to my Airtable 12-week year, and it ends up being a to-do for this calendar week. Now 12-week year pushes each week. And so I have this thing called a sweep where maybe I should say the Zap marks it as brain dump so that I know it came from there. And then I go classify it. So it might be family, it might be business, it might be something else. I go classify it, but it starts off as brain dump. But that's like, for me, that's helpful because like my brain goes really fast and sometimes I just need to type it down. Hell, I've been in situations where I think of something and I'm going to type it down or like jot it down on my phone so I could go zap it. And I'm like, crappers, I forgot what I was thinking. It's like a real thing. And I'd be like, shoot. But the brain dump is intended for me, like, especially at night. Like sometimes at night before I go to bed, I don't want to go to sleep with like stuff churning. Yes, we have those moments where things do, but I don't want to go to sleep with stuff churning in my head. And so I use my brain dump app thing on my phone. What did I create it out of? I'll get back to you on what I created it out of. But I hit it's Google. I use Google Tasks. So Google Tasks, and it pushes it from Zapier and then into Airtable. But I do a brain dump at night where I'm like, okay, these are all the things that are on my mind right now. And I may or may not get to them that week. And so there are times when I do my sweep close to the end of the week. So my week cycles up on Monday is a new day, the start of the week versus Sunday for me. So Sundays when I'm going through my 12-week year review and I'm like, hey, did I miss anything? That's what I do in my sweep. And if I didn't make something and it's something that I do need to do, then I will push it to the next week and it'll update in Airtable. And I have a whole dashboard interface that says like you're on track is 70%. So if I'm accomplishing 70% of whatever I got scheduled for the week, thumbs up, Buttercup, you did a good job. When I fall below that, I see that. I'm not too hard on myself. I'm just telling you my version of success. I think in 12-week year, theirs is, it's either 60 or 65. Of course, the overachiever in me, we went for 70, so that's good for me. But the dashboard lets me know, hey, you have this many items outstanding. And then I have this thing that Slack notifies me in the mornings to say, hey, you have 3 out of your 7 tasks due this week, or you've completed 3 out of your 7 tasks this week. So it gives me a visual reminder, okay, I got 4 more things I need to go finish before the week is up, or it's not going to work, I'm going to need to push it. So all that to say, systems is a big thing for me, and processes and workflows are really big for me. And that is also how I'm able to stay focused and achieve. Now, there are moments where I'm just like, I don't want to do this shit. Like, I'm tired of it. I need a break, and I'll go take my break. But for the most part, the systems are there so that I don't have to do so much. Prime example, my graphics person, when she's here and she's doing things, we're working on her process and her workflow. Like, we've gotten to a point where I'd say I don't need to approve 98% of the graphics that go out. If we're doing a new campaign or something, yes, I'll go do it. But otherwise, between her and my project manager on the creative team, I don't have to worry about it. But notifications go out, and cycles, if something's approved or waiting approval, somebody gets notified. If it needs feedback, they get notified. If it's okay, your thumbs up, we're good. When it's scheduled, it flips over. Like, all of those are automations. I mean, Airtable is amazing, but all of those are things that removed me from having to go do every little step because it's all automated. Now, is what I do at Airtable normal? No, not by any stretch. It is not. But whatever system works, it might be Notion or ClickUp or Trello or I don't know, Asana, whatever works for you. For me, I liked Airtable because it has all of those, with the exception Notion does have some things that Airtable does not. But all the other ones, Airtable to me is leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds ahead for me. So yeah, look at your systems, because maybe that's some of where you can gain some time. If you're doing repetitive tasks and they're not, and they can be automated or have the potential to be automated, maybe you should consider automating them, or at least streamlining them, or standard operating procedures, writing them up and giving them on to your team members so that they can execute on them and you're not stuck doing that over and over again. So here's your homework, Bold Move Besties. I'm going to leave a link to, I don't know what Airtable is at the time of this recording. I'm going to leave a link for you to sign up. Actually, you know what? I got one better. I want you to sign up in the link. Just go to shebuiltsuccess.com/resources, and you will be able to get access to our Airtable. Like, we have a whole cheat sheet checklist and things that walk you through. Like, it's a thing. It's a whole tool. I want you to look at what system. Now, you may choose something besides Airtable. I'm okay with that. This is what I like, so I can talk about what I like, right? But if it's something you're interested in, I encourage you to go ahead and check out that link, because yeah, y'all need to get it together. Some of y'all are good. You got your own systems and it works. But for those of you that are on Team Struggle Bus, and that's okay, just, little raise a hand, point a finger like they do in church, I got you covered. Go ahead, just opt in. I'll get you the resources that you need. But yeah, Bobo and Bestie, that is your homework. So go to shebuiltsuccess.com/resources or shebuiltsuccess.com/Airtable. Either one will get you to that path. And yeah, get that time blocking together. So no, I cannot do it all, but with the systems, workflows, calendar, management, time blocking, that's how I'm able to do it all. Sort of, but not really. All right, Bobo and Besties, I'll catch you on the next episode of She Built Success. Bye.